Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by the 10th annual Tesla raffle from GZ Chicago. Head to the link below and use the code TRANSPORTEVOLVED to get $25 off 2 tickets. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local, verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And if you've been waiting to get tickets for this year's Everything Electric in Vancouver, Canada this September, stick around until later in the show to find out how you can support the channel and get 20% off your tickets. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start today's show with an update on the joint partnership between Rivian and Volkswagen into joint vehicle architecture for EVs. Announced just over a month ago, the partnership will see the creation of a new jointly owned company which will leverage Rivian's software-defined vehicle smarts to engineer a next-generation hardware and software platform that both companies will use for future EVs. Since Volkswagen is a German company, it had to gain official approval from the Federal Cartel Office in Germany, otherwise known as, and please forgive my terrible German, the Bundeskartellamt. The agency has examined the details of the partnership and, after determining that it won't violate antitrust regulation, has given Volkswagen and Rivian the green light to proceed. For many years now, Audi has slowly been rolling out all-electric versions of some of its most popular models, and this week it did just that with the Audi A6. Midweek, the brand unveiled its all-new Audi A6 e-tron family in both Sportback and Avant, or wagon guises, with a couple of different powertrain options, including S-badged variants. Built on the same PPE platform as the already launched Q6 e-tron, the A6 e-tron has a 94.9 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack that's capable of charging at up to 270 kilowatts as standard at a compatible 800-volt fast charging station. But what's perhaps the most impressive is the claimed range of the aerodynamic A6 Sportback e-tron, 756 kilometres or 470 miles on the WLTP test cycle. Pricing to follow, but for US wagon fans, I'm afraid Audi isn't going to sell the wagon variant in North America. Surprise, surprise. Police in Washington state, USA, have just released official data showing that a fatal collision between a Tesla Model S and a motorcyclist in Snohomish in April did involve FSD Beta. While the incident happened in April, the driver of the Model S admitted that he was not paying attention to the road ahead and was using, quote, autopilot while looking at his phone. But forensic analysis since of the onboard computer shows that he had activated and was relying on full self-driving beta at the time of the collision. While Tesla does tell its owners not to rely on the system and to remain alert and ready to resume control, this is the latest in a series of fatalities involving motorcyclists in which Tesla's system has failed to identify and react to them. We need better legislation concerning autonomous features and tougher penalties for those who abuse said features. And as always, please give motorcyclists more space. As the world's largest manufacturer of plug-in vehicles and the second largest of battery electric vehicles, BYD is a force to be reckoned with, and its EV models offer affordable options for EV ownership in many different markets. To date, BYD hasn't sold passenger cars in the US or Canada, although its truck and bus division does manufacture and sell vehicles to both markets. Last week, we covered the news that BYD is launching more models south of the US border in Mexico, and this week we learned that it submitted paperwork to Canadian authorities as part of its goal of ultimately entering the Canadian market. While we don't know which models would be launched or when, there's a lot of red tape ahead of BYD before the sales can happen. As for imports to the US, sadly you just can't import cars from Canada or Mexico unless they're approved for use in the country. Sorry. When Ford launched its F150 Lightning a few years ago, it unveiled a new vehicle-to-home system in partnership with Sunrun and Delta that allows F150 Lightning owners to power their home in a power cut using the battery in their truck. I happen to own one of these systems, and aside from some early teething problems, it's allowed us to keep our rural home running in power cuts and brownouts alike. And this week, Ford and Sunrun announced the successful launch of a vehicle-to-grid program with Baltimore Gas and Electric. Utilising smart grid technology built into every Ford home integration system, F150 Lightning owners that are customers of the utility can now opt to feed power from their trucks to the local grid during peak power events to reduce the need for peaker power plants. Owners are estimated to receive around $800 for taking part in the program over a 4-month period. The state of California and the European Union were both celebrating new renewable energy milestones this week, and we have to share the good news too. On July 28th, the state of California hit the 100th day this year in which renewable energy, that's wind, water and solar, generated more power than the state's grid consumed. While it doesn't mean that the state operated without fossil fuels or that renewable energy was provided around the clock, it means that the electrical grid was able to meet 100% of grid demand using just renewable energy for time periods of between 5 minutes to several hours. Meanwhile, in Europe, the EU is celebrating the fact that for the first half of this year, the grid consumed more wind and solar-derived energy than fossil fuel-derived energy for the very first time in history. Well done, both. Ford's SAE Level 2 driver assistance system, BlueCruise, has been operational in the US and Canada for several years now on BlueCruise-equipped vehicles that include some of its EV models. The UK, Spain and Germany gained BlueCruise capabilities last year, and this week Ford confirmed it's received approval to offer BlueCruise in 13 new European markets: Austria, Belgium, the Czech Republic, Denmark, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Poland and Sweden. Ford says this means BlueCruise can now be used on more than 82,000 miles of highways in Europe. The system must be fully supervised at all times and, like all ADAS systems, can still fail in unexpected ways. J.D. Power has published its 2024 US Automotive Performance, Execution and Layout Study, otherwise known as the Appeal Study, and there are some big changes. Tesla, while not officially eligible due to award criteria, has continued a downward movement from previous years' surveys, falling from number 1 in 2020 through to number 4 last year and number 8 this. Meanwhile, Rivian has shot to unofficial first place. It, like Tesla and Polestar, doesn't meet the official criteria that J.D. Power has set out. Scoring 900 out of 1,000 points for its design, performance, safety, usability, comfort, perceived quality and ownership experience, it's another sign that Tesla's position in the electric marketplace is far from secure. Sticking with Tesla, new crowdsourced data via Tesla FSD Tracker is tracking the rollout of its latest iteration of full self-driving supervised, aka 12.5. And while there is a noticeable increase in the number of miles driven between interventions in the latest iteration, nearly double what it was in 12.3, a massive improvement, it's a long way from the promises made by Tesla's CEO in the past. This has led him to comment on social media that Tesla has a clear path to doubling average miles between interventions this month. But in related news, it's now starting to show signs of reaching the limit of its Autopilot Hardware 3 system, pushing the latest FSD supervised software update only to vehicles with Hardware 4 as, quote, Hardware 3 would run the same parameter count but requires extra work, to optimize the code, end quote. Like any operating system, older hardware equals less wiggle room for extra software. And finally for this segment, BMW has officially confirmed slight tweaks to its 2025 model year lineup for the i4 electric Grand Coupe. Its entry-level guise, the i4 eDrive 40 rear-wheel drive with 18-inch wheels, will now be capable of up to 318 miles. That's 511 kilometres per charge, which is up 5.5% range-wise on last year's comparable variant. But it's not all about improvements. The range-topping i4 M50 with all-wheel drive and a sub-4-second sprint time, when fitted with 19-inch wheels, actually sees its official EPA range drop by 2 miles to 267 miles, 429 kilometres for the 2025 model year, while its 20-inch wheeled sibling remains exactly the same as last year. We've just published our review of this track day demon on the channel, so go and check it out. Our short shorts are coming in a second, but first a word from the 10th annual Tesla raffle from GZ Chicago, where you can get the chance to win your choice of any of Tesla's currently in production passenger vehicles. That's a Model S, 3, X, Y or Cybertruck, or up to $50,000 in cash for those who would rather spend their prize funds on a different EV or perhaps something else entirely. GZ Chicago is a non-profit that focuses on empowering individuals and families in need towards self-sufficiency, utilising a wide range of different services ranging from free food, furniture and clothing to assistance navigating government programs and finding new employment, among many more. For your chance to win the Tesla of your choice, head to ccfraffle.com, where you can use the code TRANSPORTEVOLVED to get a $25 discount off 2 tickets or $500 off 15 tickets. There are 9,999 tickets available and the draw will take place on September 9th, so make sure you get your tickets today. And now it's time for short shorts. Chrysler is recalling Pacifica plug-in hybrid minivans to address an issue that sounds spookily similar to the battery faults that plagued the Kona EV and Bolt EV, with which it shares a common battery supplier. Owners are told not to charge their vehicles and to park outside until a battery pack inspection has occurred. Honda has recalled its Prologue EV to address a faulty front suspension component that could fail, increasing the risk of a collision. 39 examples are affected in the recall, which recently also affected the car's GM-badged sibling, the Chevrolet Blazer EV. Tesla has pushed an over-the-air software update to 1.8 million Tesla vehicles to address a fault with the car's frunk mechanism. According to Tesla, software wasn't always detecting improperly latched frunks that might open while the affected cars were being driven. During his disastrous appearance on stage at the National Association of Black Journalists conference in Chicago this week, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump reaffirmed that he is, quote, against everyone having an electric car, end quote. The Chinese government has announced a new incentive program designed to boost sales of new energy vehicles in the country. Customers who replace old petrol vehicles with new plug-in vehicles can double the subsidies available to them as a way of getting petrol vehicles off the road. Gordon Murray Group, which once proposed a slew of different EVs, confirmed this week that it sold off its EV division last year in order to focus on V12-powered supercars. It's the latest niche luxury brand to signal a backwards step. Ford's complementary Tesla-manufactured NACS adapter rollout has once again been delayed. In an official statement, Ford said it was working with its supply base to increase production and states it's confident it will have a solution to the supply constraints in the near future. Early lease prices for the GMC Sierra EV in the US seem to suggest that customers could be paying as much as $1,745 a month for 36 months at 10,000 miles per year. That is more than the lease for the Hummer EV. Lucid Motors has signed a non-binding supply agreement with Graphite One to procure synthetic anode active materials for future EV production. It's part of Lucid's move to shift to using US source materials for its vehicles, which would satisfy more federal tax credit rules. Despite claiming that Tesla is an AI company, Tesla's CEO is now suggesting that he wants Tesla to invest $5 billion into his own private AI company, xAI. It's the latest in a long line of decisions over AI and finances at Tesla that has raised eyebrows. XPeng has confirmed that it plans on launching its latest and greatest fast-charging stations, capable of providing up to 800 kilowatts of power to a single vehicle sometime in the third quarter of this year. Currently, no vehicle it makes can charge that quickly. Alfa Romeo's first all-electric model, the Junior crossover, might end up coming to the US after all. While the vehicle, originally revealed as the Milano before Italian politicians objected and forced a name change, now appears that it might be coming, with the company asking dealers in the US if they'd be interested. A US startup called Adionics that's received substantial investment from General Motors' VC arm has announced a new battery breakthrough that it says could make longer-lasting and cheaper batteries. It's a new foil current collector that's more durable and energy-dense than existing tech. XPeng has announced that it will be rolling out its latest over-the-air software update to customers' cars, including a massive upgrade to XNGP, its answer to Tesla Full Self-Driving. It now says the system will be highly usable nationwide, with no restrictions on locations or road type. Lucid was celebrating the completion of the first pre-production Lucid Gravity SUV off its production line in Arizona. The vehicle was produced where customers' vehicles will soon be made. Expect a launch event in the not-too-distant future. BYD has inked a massive deal with Uber that will see it add 100,000 BYD-built EVs to Uber fleets around the world. While it's not yet approved for the US, its vehicles will launch in Europe, Latin America, the Middle East, Canada, Australia, and Aotearoa, New Zealand. Rumours are flying around Ford's EV skunk works and potential new models the team there might bring to market. Ford's already made promises about wanting to build smaller, more efficient vehicles, and this week we heard multiple news sources suggest that could include an all-electric Fiesta EV. Nissan and Honda have announced a new joint partnership that will help them work towards building future software-defined EVs. It's the latest in a long line of automaker partnerships that will try and bring compelling software-defined electric vehicles to market. Tesla has unveiled a render of what it says will be the upcoming Tesla Semi-Factory. Due to be built alongside Tesla's Giga Nevada production facility, construction is already underway, and Tesla says it hopes to begin producing trucks there by the end of next year. A bipartisan group within the US Senate Budget Committee has been discussing ways to try and make EV manufacturing in the US more competitive among the global marketplace. Senator Lindsey Graham crossed the aisle to call for EV-friendly policies. The Alpine A290, the sportier sibling to Renault's all-new Renault 5 hatchback, has been given its official pricing in German and French markets. Starting at €38,700, it even qualifies for French purchase incentives. A new series of fast-charging stations have opened in Barcelona, Spain, that are a little different to those already there. They are powered exclusively by regenerative braking from the local metro lines, as well as solar panels installed on the roof of metro stations. Mercedes-Benz mysterious all-electric replacement for the CLA, which will be based on the concept CLA we saw last year at IAA Mobility, is said to be targeted squarely towards Tesla. Analysts and experts who have looked into the production plans says that Mercedes-Benz is going after the Model Y. A battery recycling facility being built by Librec is quickly taking form in Switzerland and, according to the company, is on track to begin recycling lithium-ion battery packs by the end of October. With a capacity of 12,000 tonnes of batteries per year, it will be the largest facility of its type. Opel has officially lowered the price of its Zafira EV in Europe. Based on a joint platform shared across other Stellantis-owned brands, it will retail from €47,550 net in its home market of Germany, significantly less than originally stated. Kia has officially published prices for the EV3 in the UK and the Netherlands ahead of a launch planned for later this year. The entry-level EV3 with a 58.3 kWh battery pack will start from just under £33,000 sterling, or the equivalent of about €40,000. Tesla has confirmed that the planned range-extended battery pack that Cybertruck customers can buy for their Cybertrucks won't be user-installable. Instead, customers will have to visit a Tesla service centre to have the packs installed and removed. Hyundai has confirmed that its 2025 Kona lineup in the US will now have an entry-level EV starting price at just under $35,000. New for the 2025 model year, there's now also a sportier Kona EV N-Line trim variant, which looks sporty but isn't in practice. Amazon has just confirmed that its electric vehicle fleet in the US has crossed 15,000 vehicles, thanks primarily to all-electric delivery vehicles like the Rivian EV. In addition, it says it's now dramatically increasing its all-electric Class 8 big rig fleet as well. In an attempt to remove unsafe e-bike batteries from use, the City of New York has announced a new e-bike trade-in program for gig workers and delivery riders that will allow them to trade non-UL listed bikes and battery packs for UL approved ones. It's not yet in effect, pending a public hearing. The state of Oregon may soon be home to a 900 megawatt solar and battery storage project. According to a notice of intent filed this week, the location in central northern Oregon, just east of Mount Hood, could be up and generating power in just under 2 years. Ford has officially pushed a new performance software upgrade to Mustang Mach E GT owners who opted to purchase the performance upgrade at the point of purchase. For GT owners who didn't, they can now opt to buy the performance upgrade as a software unlock for 2024 model years and newer. BYD has officially started production of its first performance-oriented supercar. The Yangwang U9 promises a sprint time of 2.36 seconds, thanks to a quad-motor setup producing 956 kilowatts at the wheels. And finally for the segment, if you're in the market for a used EV in the US, you'll be pleased to know the average price of a used Chevrolet Bolt EV is now dropping below $10,000. This is great news for those who want to buy one now, but not for those who purchased one last year. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first a quick word from our longtime video sponsor, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join the community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. I used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will get a small referral fee, so you'll also be helping us too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support the channel. It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for those last two stories. For some time now, Volvo has maintained that it's no longer interested in selling internal combustion engined vehicles and sees its future as being one that's only electric. In fact, it made a big noise when its final internal combustion engine non-hybrid vehicle rolled off the line. And for nearly a year now, it's promised that it will be electric only after 2030. But just as other automakers have dropped back their goals, so too has Volvo, with the company admitting this week that it may end up making hybrid vehicles for a little while longer as part of a, quote, solid bridge for our customers that are not ready to move to full electrification, end quote. While it's good to see that Volvo is still wanting to become an all-electric company in the end, it's disheartening to see yet another automaker renege previous all-electric promises. And finally, shortly after the Tesla Cybertruck launched, there was something of a craze going around where people were demonstrating the vehicle's ability to chop appendages and vegetables when closing doors and frunks. Tesla pushed a software update that helped rectify the frunk chopping problem, which then led to people putting their actual fingers in the frunk mechanism to prove that things were better. And now apparently that practice has spread to other EVs with frunks. This week, someone published a video of a Silverado EV trapping their finger painfully in the frunk mechanism when closing, something we'd frankly advise you don't do. But not to be outdone, a Tesla Cybertruck owner who wanted to demonstrate how rough and tough their vehicle was decided to walk on the roof and the windscreen of their truck for it to crack under their weight. Maybe, just maybe, we can stop doing questionable things to our vehicles to prove they're all that, and instead just drive them? And on that note, we are done with today's show. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring the show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to the 10th annual GZ Chicago Tesla raffle. Follow the link on screen and use Transport Evolved at checkout to get your discounted tickets today. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts, helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And if you are someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, whatever it was, congratulations! I've heard from some of you. Well done! If you'd like to support the channel directly, and YouTube ad revenue is definitely not paying the bills these days, please consider supporting us from $1 a month on Patreon, which is about $10.08 a year. We are viewer supported because we believe the information we provide should be free to everyone, so if you support, thank you. You make this possible, and in the light of us turning YouTube comments back on again, it's not as bad as it was, but please do consider following us over to Discord, where the conversation is far nicer, and just don't engage the YouTube trolls. Our swag store is also there for your swag related needs, including our newest t-shirt, a very special Canadian EV owning moose that if you wear it to Everything Electric next month in Vancouver, Canada, you might just get something very special from us if you visit us on our stand. Talking of which, if you would like to come to Everything Electric Canada 2024 in Vancouver next month, use the link on screen to buy your tickets, and if you add the discount code Transport Evolved at checkout, you will get 20% off your tickets, and will also get 100% of tickets sold using the code, so you will help us fund our own attendance. I'll be back next week as usual with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. To finish, remember you are valid and loved, and you have a place in this world, even if people are calling you crazy cat ladies. This week has been a little bit weird, especially for those in the LGBTQIA+ community, but know that your existence is resistance. And that resistance, if you're able, can be bolstered by making sure you're registered to vote this year, especially if you're in the US. It is, after all, part of the democratic process to have your say, regardless of whom you vote for. So until next time, stay safe, regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, keep evolving.